Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. I am here to show you a few alternates that I made with the January Key to My Heart paper pumpkin kit. In a previous video, I did one of each design that the kit calls for. And this is the coordinating envelope that goes with each one of them. So I'm going to show you what I did for housewarming cards. So I took the paper pumpkin kit from No Matter the Weather from March of 2020, and I used the image of the house. Let me show you real quick. It's this one here. And I did a lot of this stuff already just to save time, but I will assemble the card so you'll see the finished product at the end of the video. So using the No Matter the Weather, I stamped the house, and then I just colored really easy, just use some tones of the browns. I did some green on the topiaries, the little purple, because I am using the shade also. So I just kind of wanted to carry over some of the colors that I am using for my backgrounds that I thought would work well. What I did was I took one of the envelopes, and I wanted to show you it assembled and then what I did when I cut it. So this is the envelope, and if you look inside, it is patterned all the way down. So you have this whole sheet here that would be purple, and that's what I worked with. So I cut a very, very thin line off with my trimmer, so then I was able to open it and have one long sheet. I then cut off the bottom, which would be like this now. So I cut that off. I'm going to save it. It is still good to stamp with. And then I was left with this part, and let me show you real quick. This part. Okay, so just imagine that being the folder. So what I did was I cut my cardstock. I used the Fresh Freesia, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. So I used 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. I cut it this way, and I cut it in half. I scored it at the 5 1/2 portion. So then I have my key print here, and the card will open this way. So let's take a look at what I did after that. So I have my matting, and I cut it. And this would be 4 by 5 1/4. So you'll trim it 4 by 5 1/4, and then you create your matting for the front of your card. And your keys are going to be up and down this way, but the sheet's going to go horizontal. Then I took another Fresh Freesia, and I cut it, what did I do? Let me measure real quick. Okay, so I cut this 4 1/4 by 2.75, and that'll be my matting right there. And then I used Dainty Flowers, and I trimmed this 4 by 2 1/4. So I had some already cut because I was going to make some cards. So all I did was just trim it like that. So these are the Designer Series paper, and I'm using the side with the flowers. So I'm gonna use this for another project, but I didn't want to cut an entire 12 by 12 sheet, so I'm using this. And this fits perfectly framed like so. Then what I'm going to do is take my little doorstep that I have, and this little white cardstock measures 2 inches by 2 1/4. And then I just colored it in. I didn't put too much around the color of the house or anything. I just left it pretty much plain. To me, that's plain. and I'm going to line it up here. Why don't we do this? So I have my big tape runner off here. I'm going to go around the 4 sides of the Fresh Freesia cardstock. I want this to go not centered because I am going to use this tag. This tag came with the January kit, and the congratulations is from, where did I get this from? I'll think of it in a minute. Oh gosh. Oh, it's this stamp here. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. When I find it, I'll write it in my comments. But I am using that stamp for this particular one, using one of the little die cuts that came with the kit. So I popped that out. But I want this to go, I want this to measure from height, from top to the bottom of this to kind of measure even, not the purple itself. So we're going to just put that on there like so, and then we're going to take our DSP. So again, I use Dainty Flowers. There's a lot of really cute patterns in this paper pack, and I am using another one in another card. So remember, these 3 cards that I'm going to show you are only for new homeowners or housewarming cards. So there you go. So we have the matting on now, and then we're going to take our image of the little front porch and see how it is not covering there. I was thinking of putting it there in the center, but I don't know. I kind of like it up on top, because then I'm going to be using this to cover and then do it that way. So you can use dimensionals at this point if you choose. I am just putting tape runner on the back of all of them and making them flat. And I'm just gonna eyeball it here and put it like that. And you know what, these, maybe I will use dimensional for this one. So I have some right here. So let's just put one on each side. You can use your pick tool or a fingernail, whatever you feel comfortable with, peeling off that protective layer. So I'm lining up the corner of this little fishtail with the bottom of that Fresh Freesia frame, and at the same time looking at the white border of the image, and then also looking at the bottom. But there is one card there. Congratulations for your new home. And on the inside, what I did was I took a piece of white cardstock. I cut it a little smaller than the inside. It would measure 4 by 5 1/4. And I just stamped it with the little key that came with the paper pumpkin kit. And I used, what did I use here? I used the smoky slate. So I'm just going to run my tape on there and put this on the inside, and then you can write your sentiment. Okay, and there you go. There's card number 1. Congratulations on your new home. So now let's take a look at number 2. What I did was I used, this time I'm still going to use the Dainty Flowers, but I'm using I was going to use this side, but then I thought I would just use this side. So again, my scoring is 5.5 long, and this time it would be 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we can put, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do the smoky slate and put the key just in the corner. Just a little image. So when they open it up, there'll be just a little tiny, like a little pattern that kind of carries over. Okay, so this is going, I should have done it the other way. So you know what? I'm going to put my key up on top. So this card is going to run this view. I thought it was a horizontal card. Okay, so we're going to do the inside like that. And now let's work with the front. So I'm going to use this pattern here that comes in the Dainty Flowers. And this matting is going to measure 4 by 5 1/4. Just enough framing on the outside with your cardstock. And then we're going to eyeball it and put that on. Just like that. Okay, now we are ready to work with the rest of everything else that I tried to come up with. So using the same colored cardstock, I cut this down to 2.75 by 2 1/4. And then I used this color here because I thought it would match the banner. And I cut this white part 2 by 2 1/2. So it just frames in there. And again, I used the same little front porch from the No Matter the Weather. Now, this one I think I'm going to heighten. I'm going to give it, I was messing with that, trying to think of something to do, and I didn't like what I did there because it just looked like haunted houses. It didn't look like houses like in a neighborhood. Although on Halloween it would look great. So, ooh, that's an idea. If somebody bought a house around Halloween, or you wanted to say thank you for the great party, you could do that. So this ones what I was first working with was, I believe it was From Our Home to Yours or something like that. I have it right here. But yeah, From Our House to Yours. So you can also use that one too. I was going to try to create something, but it just wasn't working out. So there, I'm going to use the dimensionals and give this a little pop for the center. And then I'm just going to run some adhesive on the back and center that. Not too high, but not exactly centered. And then what I did was I stamped the image using the key from the kit right there. And I used a hole punch and I punched it out. Again, I used the smoky slate, so it would look like a little silver key. I used the twine that came with it, and I just made a little ribbon. And then we're going to put that on. Now, I haven't really thought of how to, you know what, I'm going to pop these up too. I haven't really thought of how to attach this yet. And I think I'm just going to use some adhesive, and because I kind of wanted it to hang while it was on the banner. And look, this is a little crooked. So let's fix this before it really sticks. Okay. So that's a little better. Okay, so let's, I guess I can use, you know what? I'm going to use my liquid glue and just put some on the top and on the bottom of the key. and we'll just work with that. So then that can go there, and that can go there like that. Did I put the glue on the right spot? So I just tied a little bow, and let's let that dry. And but there is card number 2. Pretty easy. The only components that I used were the banner, the key stamp, and the ribbon. Everything else is colors that I had in stock. And again, remember, I stamped a little image on the inside for that one. Now the next one is really super easy. Oh, so I wanted to show you, this color here came with the kit, but as you can see, it was, okay, so let me show you. So this next card, I can explain it better. So this next card, I used this cardstock that came to make the card, and then that purple was on the inside. So I cut this evenly, and I measured it to be 4 by 5 1/4. I cut this bottom off only to be 5 1/4, and then I only cut like 1/8 and 1/8 from each side. There was no point in me cutting off the top because there's not much room. I didn't want it too thin, so I took the majority off on this side to make it this length. That makes sense. So then that left me with this card, and that's where this came into play, because remember the other side had that purple, and I thought it was going to be really creative and have this background of purple and little houses, and yeah, that didn't work out. So I just flipped it over, stamped the image, and utilized the back of that. Again, I'm going to use this for some vases, and I might make more house cards because I need more of those than I do Valentine cards right now. So this is dry, and that is card number 2. And so this one here is very, very easy. I really didn't have to do much to it. I used the front of the card, as I told you. I cut my own card base, and I put the key in the middle, just like it did for the kit. And then I just put congratulations, and this pretty much says it's home. Pretty much says it's all about a home. You may want to add a ribbon if you want. Leave it as is. And then on the inside, let's do my little signature key, and we are done. So I hope these cards have inspired you to make some different types of styles. Maybe there's a fun fold. As I was making these, I was thinking, oh, I can use my dies and do scalloped edges, and I can do ovals, and I have all these different shapes. And I may do that, but I just wanted to get the ball rolling and get the creative juices flowing, and I think it's working. So here's my 3 cards, and in the description I will try to be as best as I can in describing everything I used. So thanks for watching. I hope this was inspiring, and if you don't have a demo, this is my website, and if you are not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, say that 3 times, this is my website, and you can make a lot of cards like this every month, as well as alternatives. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.